Hello everyone, how are we all doing? Took me a minute there. I was tidying up. I had a mess of washing behind me. I've not sorted it, I've just pushed it off camera so it doesn't look quite as messy. And then I realised I didn't have a drink, so I had to go make a drink. So I was slightly longer than I should have been. I'm sorry. But you got to listen to some good Shadow Generations music, so if you have any complaints, tough shit. How's everyone doing? Welcome. We are playing some Payday 3 today. It will be a slightly shorter stream than usual. I'm busy all day tomorrow and I want to get an early night's sleep if I can tonight, so I don't want to be streaming super late. Hearing this music while playing Kingdom Come Deliverance is weird. Wow, it's crazy to see someone else in the YouTube chat saying that, because Ellie over in my Twitch chat keeps going about those games. And I'm going to play them soon. But yeah. Oh, look at that. Tired Swiss in the chat. Very nice to see you over on Twitch, buddy. Nice to see you. But yes, we are just going to play a little bit of Payday 3 today. Okay? I don't know. We might just do some solo stealth stuff just so we can have a bit of a chat. I haven't really decided too much, I'll be honest with you. We're just kind of going to hang out and have a nice time. I think what I might do is do a solo stealth and maybe do a group lobby after that. I don't know. But I just kind of wanted to get everyone's thoughts on recent news, on offline mode, and all the stuff that we've kind of... It's been in the circles, in the Payday circles for a little while. You know what I mean? I want to kind of cover some of it, basically, and just see where everyone's feeling about it all. I feel like I'm always doing first world bag, but I kind of... Yeah, fuck it, I'm going to stealth it again. I like first world bag, friends. You can't fault me for it, okay? I mean, how long have I been talking? 2 minutes? And I've already done a lock impression. It's all down here from hill, people. It's all down here from hill. It's all downhill from here. Great. We are just not doing hot. We're not doing very hot. Okay. We need to suppress. I'm going to bring Freedom's Fortune, because my name is Houston, even though I'm playing as Jacket. Extra thermite bags. Well, that's no use. It's no use. So how's everyone doing? They keep saying they're going to mention the offline mode's news soon, but they never do, so don't scam on Twitch. Well, this is the thing. They said they're going to talk about it in the coming weeks. But, like, how many weeks is that? You know, that could be, you know, the coming weeks could be the coming 20 weeks, could be the coming 2 weeks, could be the coming, like, 8 weeks. I don't know. It's kind of why I felt a bit more relaxed about putting out my offline mode video imminently. Fuck off. Because I do want to make a video talking about where I think offline mode's at before offline mode comes out, like the news comes out, because obviously I want to talk about it a bit and get my thoughts out there. If the news comes out first, it comes out first, and I'll just talk about it then. But I want to share some thoughts, and I also want to get some community input. I definitely do want to know your thoughts, and that's one of the main reasons we're doing this stream. Also just because, you know, I haven't done a Payday 3 stream for a little bit. I don't... The problem is, I know we have, like, weekly Payday streams, but as things start to, like, wind down Payday 3, or at least... You know, it feels like they're winding down with less staff and money and no real timeline of what's coming. Streaming it weekly may not be quite as regular a thing. It might be every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks. I might do Payday 2 in between. If I do, like, Payday 2 or something like that, I'll probably stream that on YouTube as well. I feel like Payday games I can multi-stream. Anything else I probably won't. I did consider multi-streaming Crime Boss, but I'm not sure if the YouTube audience would care as much. I mean, this is nothing against you guys, but YouTube audience has shown previously that streaming something other than Payday is not very interesting to them, and I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't then. So I don't know. Right, let's go through here. Now, what's this way? Oh, that goes down. Where does this go to? I don't actually remember. Ooh, the server room. There's also a path back here. I can hear lasers too. Oh! Oh wait, so that saves me having to use a QR code. I didn't realise that. That's cool. That's cool. Right, let's find the inside man's office. But yeah, so what do you all think about offline mode? Let's hit the ground running with that. I mean, there literally is the Q4 report and the potential extra layoffs to talk about, which is actual news. But let's just start with offline mode. Let's warm up, chat. Let's warm up. So what are your thoughts on offline mode? Do you guys think it's still coming? If you do, when do you think it's happening? Like, what's your predictions? What's your thoughts? What's your timeline on these events? If you think they're happening, give me your info. What's offline mode? Yeah, I feel like that's about the right answer. Ambushed on YouTube. Oh dear. Yeah, if you're not aware, just to give you the context, because I realise there may well be some people here who are PS Plus players, welcome to anyone who's new to the community from that. I don't know if anyone's like watching, lurking, whatever it may be. Payday 3, if you're not aware, has had a very rough first year. I mean, the game's definitely in a much better state than it was when it came out, that's for sure. But it was as a result of something they enacted called Operation Medic Bag. The gist of that operation was to add a bunch of things that really should have been in the game at launch and weren't, to just try and make the game an overall better experience. And one thing they promised as part of that operation, one of the biggest things, was a fully offline mode for the game. They were going to do it in 2 stages. First off, a solo mode, which I'm playing in right now, which, fun fact, still says solo mode beta. Look at that on the top right corner. That has been there now for 8 months. Just you know, I mean, if you're gonna keep it as a beta for a while, take the fucking watermark off the screen, please. My goodness, feels like I'm playing a tech test that like just expired 8 months ago and no one did anything about it. But yeah, so they added the solo mode and that was okay. And they said, you know, we're gonna do a full offline mode, but that takes more effort. That'll come later in the year or later in the operation or whatever it was they actually said. Point being, it was meant to be coming, and it just hasn't. And then not long before PS Plus got Payday 3. There was some news from within Starbreeze, the company that owns Payday, that they were reducing the funding notably, as well as the size of the team working on the game going into year 2. They claim that that means they'll be able to deliver the same amount of content with a smaller team, although unfortunately most of us kind of know by this point that is probably just bullshit. It sounds rude, but it genuinely is just the case that we're in. You know, Almir, one of the main guys, who's the global brand director, likes to say that they lead by example. They lead by doing things rather than saying things, and I agree with him on that. So far, we haven't seen much in the doing, so who knows. Point being, though, Operation Medic Bag was meant to last throughout 2024, and it was confirmed in that report that said we're cutting down funding and staff for Payday 3 that Operation Medic Bag had come to an end. But it had come to an end without the offline mode being added. And since then, there's been very, very, very little word from Starbreeze with regards to that. And just a week or two ago, the Payday Twitter account said, we know we need to talk about offline mode. It's a serious thing. We want to address it seriously. We'll do so in a few weeks. So that's currently where we're at. So there is an overarching fear right now, at least for me personally, that with the smaller team, smaller budget, and them trying to just do their best to keep people interested in Payday 3, I don't think they've got the resources or the time to put into offline mode anymore. I think they're going to pull out of that promise. That's my personal thought. So, not to spoil my video when it comes out, but that is where my brain is at with that. I do want to incorporate some thoughts from everyone. I want to recap everything. It's going to be very similar to what I'm talking about in this video, but just more in this stream, but more in a video format. But what I want to do is get your thoughts. So, what do people think? Do you think offline mode is still coming? Or do you think it's curtains? Like, what's everyone's thoughts? Do you think it's going to be time better spent on making actual content? What's the thought? Because while I do agree that it's important to add actual content to the game, the only problem and the only reason that I'm quite as uppity about offline mode is not just that they promised it and haven't delivered it. UV1 Aegis or UVegas, the follow on Twitch, thank you very much. It's not just that. It is also the element that if you don't have an offline mode in a game, the money you spend on it, the time you spend on it, eventually has an expiry point. There will be a point where you can't access this game anymore and you can't play anything in it. Because you still need to be connected to the internet in order to access solo mode. It is literally just a single player mode. It's still connected to the internet. So, if we don't get some form of offline mode, then eventually, when the servers go down for this game, whether that's in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it is, because it might be a way off, we don't know. Depends on how things go with the game. But whenever that server shutdown does inevitably happen, you will no longer be able to access this game, and any money you've put in this game will be not accessible anymore. Any time you spent on it will lead to nothing. So it's important that we have a way to play this game, because Payday 2 has that. There's a CrimeNet offline mode, which was, I think, there since the start. If it wasn't, it was certainly there early in the game. I'm sure any Payday 2 veterans in the chat could remind me of that. Fill me in on that question. I don't remember where all the wire boxes are on this side of the map. I'm just trying to fucking figure out where they are. Bro. Oh, you're in my face.
You're not allowed in here. I'll need you to come with me. This area is restricted.
Yep, sure. I'll get you to go around the corner, then I'll hack your radio and flick the wire. Fuck you.
Don't make this difficult. Just follow me.
Alright. The next wire should be red, but sometimes they repeat colours, so I ain't gonna risk it. So yeah, what's everyone thinking? What's everyone thinking? Let's see what the public are thinking. Offline mode is happening when we get the Maskmania masks, so maybe never, says Massmarker on YouTube. Let's read the YouTube ones out first. I'm going to read some on YouTube. So yeah, there was a, I feel like I need to explain to these. No deployables. That says Payday 2. I never claimed those apply to Payday 3, and I refuse to allow them to. Sorry. Right, it's green. Feel free to refund Noel. Also, I'm not focusing enough to honor that kind of thing right now anyway. I'll probably forget, and then that's not fair. Anyway, yeah. So there was one other thing for the PS Plus people. Payday 3 has only ever done one live event. It was in July, called Mask Mania. And the idea was if you played particular heists, you would earn progress towards a particular mask being unlocked for free for everyone in the game. It wasn't a very well-run event. They barely managed to get one of the masks unlocked, and that was only after doubling the amount of progress or contributions people made. Yeah, we do sense trouble, Noli. They did add the winning mask to anyone who took part in the event a couple months afterwards, the shark mask. But the three other masks which were meant to be added to the game, and this event was in July, by the way, still not been added. So this is 7 months since the event took place, and we still don't have them.
Hey, you! Restricted area!
So, that's another thing. So I think I agree with Masmarco on YouTube thinking that, you know, that it's going to go, the offline mode might go the way of Mask Mania. Because, yeah, both of them don't seem to be making any notable progress. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we end up with neither actually having anything happen. Oh, come on. There we go. Cool.
We must be aware of the vessel.
Why is that civvy doing a guard pose? That's what that guard's doing up there. Is she role-playing? Damn. Bank staff doing roleplay. Who would have thought? What are other people saying? I think there'll be an offline mode, but not because they added one, if you get what I'm saying. Oh, fuck. Oh, man. Oh. Well, you do play into my point. Like, there is a point where these servers could get shut down. You know?
The metal detector is shut down. Go on in.
Do you think when Project Baxter fails, they will try to come back to Payday similar to The Walking Dead? Yeah, I think it's entirely possible. I think it's entirely possible. I feel like this is going to be the stream of re-explaining things. I don't know if anyone is watching right now who's a new PS Plus player. Feel free to let me know if you are. I'd be intrigued. Because if there's some things I don't need to repeat, I won't repeat them. But let's make the stream accessible. Yes, the next game coming from Starbreeze is a D&D game, currently just called Project Baxter. That's all we know at the minute. But the problem is, a lot of the decisions made to gut support for Payday 3, etc., have been made with this Project Baxter in mind to try and make that game better. And try and put the devs' attention to that, because Starbreeze have locked in making that and releasing it next year, and they've told that to investors, yada yada yada, so they basically can't do anything about it. And yes, as someone's just said in the Twitch chat, if you do see something referred to as Project Backshots, that's Project Baxter. It's lovable nickname, which it kind of feels like Payday's getting some backshots to the head at the minute. That sounds weird. That sounds fucking weird. Anyway, back in ye old times when Starbreeze was called Overkill, still the same company, they made a game called Overkill's The Walking Dead, and it completely flopped, and the company nearly went bankrupt. If it wasn't for the now late former CEO Mikhail Nermark managing to pull shit together for the company, they would have gone under. But they managed to keep afloat by going back to Payday 2, making DLC and getting more hype up for Payday 3 through that, as well as funding. So it was very much, it was that Thanos meme, you know, you could not live with your own failure, where did that bring you back to me? But back to me was back to Payday. So it definitely does feel like we could end up with history repeating itself. I'm fully with you on that. I think there is definitely a decent chance that at some point we could wind up going back to Payday 3 when Project Baxter fails, assuming it does. There's a chance it doesn't, and I've said this already, and I know some of the devs working in Starbreeze no doubt care about the project and want it to do well. I don't want to, like, discount that. The problem is, most of the core audience and people I've talked to and people in my community, etc., have absolutely no interest in a project, in a Dungeons & Dragons game from Starbreeze. They want a functional Payday game that gets decent support and feels that the company gives a shit about it, and we don't have that at the minute, you know? The devs care, but if the higher-ups don't, then there ain't much you can do. Also, I'm really struggling to find the manager's office. Is it down here? Where the fuck is Bro's office? I am going crazy.
You can't be here. Move it.
Fuck off. Where the hell is his office? Am I just blind? I mean, I know I am, but, like, also, you know? So, there definitely is, like, to me, there is a feeling that we might end up heading that way. Which I don't like. I mean, of course I don't like. What do you expect? Do you think I was going to say I like that? I don't want Starbreeze to go under. I don't want fucking Payday to go under, but it just feels like the company's not really doing enough to aid it right now. And this is the thing. Part of me wonders whether it's the executives realizing that what they're doing is a bad idea and doing it anyway, or if it's them not actually realizing that they're doing something silly and they're not listening to the fans and then just going ahead thinking they're doing right when they're not. Like, I don't know. I don't know what their plans are. I don't know what their logic is. I don't know if they have any logic. Where is the red keycard? I just realized I don't have that on me. Where else can the red key card actually be? I don't know.
Come on, you need to follow me now.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
No sightseeing. Come on, I'll show you out.
Have we heard anything about Mass Mania since? No. The thing is with Starbreeze sometimes, and it means a grace of love to them, if there is something that they're not going to do, that they want to try and get away with, like, you know, not being rude, but that is basically the attitude of it. Oh, there's the manager's office. Like, if they can get away with not doing something they've said they're going to do, they will do it. Like they will just go, do you know what? If someone brings it up, we'll mention it again. If they don't, we can just let it slip by. I mean, there was meant to be a collaboration with a fashion designer in New York called Bam Bam, some really cool suits. They were meant to come with the launch of the game. Or no, sorry, in 2024 they were meant to come out, my bad, not launch the game.
Over there.
Oh, I fucked this up, haven't I? Come in here.
Now our feature.
Okay, let's just restart. This was never going to go well anyway, clearly my first run. But yeah, so that collaboration was meant to happen. And I remember in my interview with Alma and Andreas last year, the second one I did, I brought the suits up and he was like, well, if that's something people want, we'll add it. And I obviously didn't say it at the time because, like, I understand its priorities, but part of me in my head was thinking, if we want them, you'll add them? You said you were going to add them. Why is it a question of if we want them? You know? It's clearly down to them just prioritizing what's important, and I get that. But, like, that's my point, you know? These things that you might think are coming, they decide not to prioritize, but they don't tell you unless you bring it up. That's the thing with offline mode, you know? I feel like because people like me and the wider community, it's not just me, it's certainly not with this one, but because of people going on and on about it, this is why they've gone, right, we need to address it. And I wonder if people hadn't kicked up a fuss, whether they'd have addressed it. You know what I mean? It's a shame. I said this in my video I put out last night, but one thing I used to give a lot of credit to Overkill and Starbreeze for, what was the colour? Was it white? It wasn't. Fuck. Why didn't I just look? Am I stupid? I'm just going to restart. I don't want to be in search. But one thing I used to say was their communication with the community was top-notch. It was really good. They were constantly talking to the community, getting their thoughts on things, and making sure there was a constant dialogue. Since Payday 3's come out, that has been lost a bit. They're good in some ways, like you have the weekly heist with Howard, heist with Almir streams, people ask questions, but you don't have that same level of honesty, I don't think, about things unless you bring it up and hold it to a light and go, oi, what's the deal with this? Do you know what I mean? Also, I see Nico in the chat. Hello. How you doing, buddy? Great. Troy's trying so hard to lock in. The problem is, right, and it's kind of like what Almir does in his streams, like, it's a thing with streamers in general, I feel like. If you're trying to interact with the chat as well as play a game, it's a question of how much brain power you put to each. Some games that you're just having a playthrough and you're occasionally reading out chat comments, and it's fine. But games like this where I kind of need to focus at least a little bit while reading comments, it's hard, especially when I'm prioritizing answering your comments, because that's more important to me anyway. So it does mean the gameplay can be a bit shit at times, so I apologize for that, but hopefully you can forgive me.
Take it easy.
Where is the red key card? The seed resets in solo mode, doesn't it? So the red key card should be in a different place, but it's still not. Or has it stayed the same? It never used to. You're not forgiven? Alright, well, I didn't ask you, Nico. How about that? TLDR skill issue. Yeah, Luke. I see you, little guy G. Nice to see you here, buddy. Alright. Whoop. Whoop. Okay. Let's go this way. Let's go down and open the server room. Whoa! Let's do a different heist. Let's do a different heist. Let's do one where I can focus a bit better. Anyway. Baxter's going to end up being worse than Overkill's The Walking Dead since there are already more than enough D&D games people will want to play. For one thing, I disagree. The thing is, Overkill's The Walking Dead, part of the reason that game failed in the way that it did is because they completely reset their development almost entirely about a year out from launch. You know, it was very famously said, one of the Starbreeze developers at the time, I don't know if they still work at the company, but in a report to Eurogamer, they made a comment saying, we were impressed we managed to get a game you could click a .exe on. We were amazed we managed to make a game where just opening the game actually worked. That was the level they were at. So Overkill's The Walking Dead just was never going to work because of that. They spent about, I think, 2 years or something building the game in an engine called Valhalla that Starbreeze bought specifically for that game. And then they went, oh, actually, this isn't going to work. We're pulling the plug on Valhalla, go to Unreal Engine. And a lot of devs either didn't have experience with Unreal Engine or just had to redo everything they'd done in Valhalla because they couldn't port the stuff over. So the game just ended up launching as a complete, in an absolute state. It was a mess. So my hope is at the very least Project Backstat isn't having that kind of problem. Okay? I doubt it would be, personally. That's a mistake I would hope they wouldn't repeat. Thank you, Psycho, for the follow on Twitch. I appreciate that. But obviously there are still some concerns there, you know. Let's do a Rock the Cradle. Let's do a very hard Rock the Cradle and just do our little speed run. Have a bit of a chill. Have a bit of a relax. It's easier. It's easier. Anyway. Silly idea. What if they sold the IP? I don't see Starbreeze selling the IP. The thing is, it's a weird situation with Starbreeze because it isn't that they don't give a shit about Payday at all. It's that they don't give enough of a shit about Payday's important aspects and the brand as a result. They will use Payday because they know the name carries weight, but they don't care to actually do things that forward the IP itself, if that makes sense, you know? There are still some bugs in Payday 2, from what I've heard, that have not been addressed, but no one's working on that game anymore to make that better, which is ironic, considering Payday 2 still pulls in tens of thousands of players when Payday 3 can barely pull 1,000 in any day. And then you've also got the thing of Payday 3 not getting enough content and updates, not having enough staff to make the content and updates. But they'll happily sell the IP, like, usage to PUBG and send a quarter of their staff to work on a crossover in PUBG. A game that I don't know anyone who gives a shit about anymore because most of the market for that game is in Asia. It's just, like, they do things to use the IP, but it feels that they use them because they know it'll work rather than because they're doing things for the fans. Does that make sense? And maybe they think what they're doing benefits the fans, because I know in the last quarter report that just came out, Matt Sewell, the acting CEO, was like, oh, the PUBG crossover is great because it will be interesting to both Payday and PUBG fans. Which was a bold statement to make when it was quite clear in the months after that announcement in December that Payday fans did not give a modicum of a shit about the PUBG crossover. They were like, this is a terrible idea, fella, what are you doing? You know what I mean? So, I like PUBG, fair enough. Like I said, there are some people that do, and I said this in my video yesterday, there are definitely people out there who care about it. But my point is more that the consensus of Payday fans don't give a shit. Like, if there'd been some big roundup of fans going, do you know what, this is a good idea, I'd go, do you know what, fair enough, maybe I've misread the situation here. But you're the first person, Dang Dude Dan, in YouTube, and I'm not saying this to single you out, I mean, you're more than entitled to your opinion, but you're the first person I've seen actually be like, I like PUBG, that I can remember in a long time. You know? I don't think that Western market is there the way it used to be. Do you know what I mean? I keep making the case, but I genuinely think a Fortnite crossover would have made more sense. If you want to utilize the IP, that would have made more sense to me. And you wouldn't have needed to send 25% of your workforce over to make it happen. That's another thing. Got a bit of a nasty spawn here. I think I'm going to restart. I like getting the loot spawn on the other side of the building. So I'm going to move it over. At this point, the IP is worth fuck all, said Nico. You think so? Fair enough. If that's what you think, Nico. Former Starbreeze employee, Nico.
Just keep in mind that if the alarm is triggered,
do I need to say any more? Do I need to say any more?
I
don't think I do. Brother PUBG is pulling 800k CC on Steam a day. Exactly, yeah. Like, it has an audience. The thing is, the audience is mainly Asian, right? It's an Asian market. So, maybe that market does really care about Payday, or will care about it when they try it out. They also very well might not. That's why I think it's a bit of a strange tactic to make. It's a very strange tactic. Do you know what I mean? It might pay off. I just don't think that anyone really believes, whether it pays off or not right now, that that's a good use of Starbreeze's assets, you know? And I think what was interesting was I saw a comment a little while ago saying, you know, maybe this was the best use for the staff considering all the layoff rumors at the minute, and maybe they'd have laid off more people, and maybe that's the case. And if that's the case, and they would have laid off people anyway, then fuck it. Do the fucking PUBG thing. Good grief. I mean, I would hope the company wouldn't be in such a state that that could happen, but who fucking knows? The thing is, when you have information like this and it's not the full picture, we don't know everything that's going on, what you create is a vacuum, and in that vacuum you can do all sorts of shit, right? All sorts of things can come out or be theorized on, things like that might be completely bullshit. I don't fucking know what's going on. I mean, they wouldn't have shared it to partners anyway, but like, especially now I'm not a partner, I ain't got a fucking clue what's going on inside that company. I don't know. So the problem is, the bigger the vacuum you create by not talking about things, the worse things get in the community, because things can snowball. Rumors can build up, or thoughts can build up that become popular because there's nothing there to counteract them. Do you know what I mean? It's about controlling the narrative, and that was one thing that really fucked me off in the lead up to Payday 3's launch. It kind of came out at the end where it was like, oh yeah, we were planning to release information, yada yada yada, all this stuff. But if you don't remember, Payday 3 had a number of leaks in the lead up to its actual reveal. And those leaks, one of them was extremely damning, which was that there was going to be an in-game currency for Payday 3. And it took Starbreeze a while to actually even acknowledge that. and go, we're not going to do any in-game currency until after launch. And then once the game actually shut the bed at launch, they went, fuck it, we can't do it at all until 2025. Which, will they even do it now? Fuck knows. But that was a problem I had back then. I remember doing a little rant video in the middle of 2023, being like, you guys have got to control the narrative. You're letting rumors spread, and you're letting things get out of hand because you aren't jumping in to save things. And this is what annoys me about the layoffs. Because maybe the situation isn't as bad in Starbreeze as the rumors are making it out. Maybe it's just as bad. Maybe it's worse. This is why I constantly say if, you know, because we really don't know for sure. Because Starbreeze won't open their damn mouths and tell us, you know? And you could make an argument that, yeah, consumers aren't entitled to know everything about the inner workings of a company. And that's fair. I get that. But if even, like, Ubisoft and Activision can announce the full extent of their layoffs whenever they're happening, I don't really see what fucking excuse Starbreeze has to not do that. I suppose the only possible excuse is they don't want to tell investors because they're a publicly traded company and that would crash their share price. Maybe that's it. But that is someone who's like, who knows absolutely nothing really about how investor companies work and day trading and all that shit. I know nothing about that. So don't take my opinions there with any kind of seriousness because I just don't know. I would love to get, if there's anyone in the chat who has more knowledge of these insider things, who wants to talk more about how it works, feel free. I'd love to know more. Do share it. But I don't know enough to comment, is my point.
Okay, so I want a large pie with mushrooms and tapioca. Root beer milkshake to wash it all down. Could you be a doll and order that for me?
You're bad. Fuck. But yeah, so like, I mean, I've seen every possible, that comment I said where someone said, oh, maybe that's like the best use for the fans. That's like one of loads of different comments I've seen, loads of different theories. People are making their own assumptions about where the game's at and where the company's at, because we don't know, you know? It's just tough. It's tough. Kerbizard on YouTube said attracting more people to Payday 3 whilst not actually fixing it is a bold move. Exactly. And this is the thing. That was the other problem with the PUBG deal. Because again, let's assume that the deal works out. Let's assume that this PUBG deal is beneficial and a shit ton of PUBG players go, wow, I want to check out Payday 3. Let's go and check it out. And they do it. Who's to say that those people who actually make the effort to check out the game will be in any way impressed by what they see? The honest answer is, they won't be. Because the game still isn't where it needs to be. It's got better, and I don't want to discount that. The devs have put one hell of a good amount of work into this game to make it better. But we don't have an offline mode. The first live event that we got, the rewards haven't been added. Some things, whether they're big or small, need to be done to show that the game developers and the company and the executives are caring about the franchise. And I think if the developers had a lot more free reign, they do a lot more than they currently are. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I think the problem you've got with me, well, apart from finding me annoying, which I know some people do, whatever. The problem you've got with me is, I have a very personal attachment to Starbreeze, and not just because I've been a partner, not just because I've visited the studio a couple of times and like met the developers and all that shit, but if you're an OG, you know, only true Rel fans know, what was that thing, the Vanos meme, only true Vanos fans know? Like, if you were an old-time fan of mine, or like a supporter of my content, I don't love the word fan, 1, 2, 3, 7, at least not with myself in context. But if you're an old-time supporter of me, you'll remember that back in ye olden days, like 2018, 2019, 2020, 3127, let me just type. Are you ladies men 3127? I know it's not quite the right number, but listen, I got 3127. There we go. If you're an older fan of mine, you remember that back in 2018, 2019, I was very close in reporting the goings-on in Starbreeze as a company. What was going on with their fans, what was going on with them going under, and I also was... like, and this is not just to pick myself up, it's because no one really cared to talk about Payday back then. I was like the leading voice in reporting what was going on with Starbreeze's like reconstruction, where they nearly went bankrupt and they were, you know, trying to pull themselves back and get the company back to some kind of decent state of operability. Is that even a word? I don't know. So I have that attachment of watching a company that I cared about nearly go bankrupt from their own silly mistakes and the mistakes of people like Bo Anderson, the former CEO, and all that shit. A company like that have pulled their way back via a CEO who, God rest his soul, isn't even alive anymore because the guy died to friggin' cancer, which, as always, fuck cancer, man. Who probably would still have been in charge of the company for a lot longer if not for it, I'm guessing. I don't know. He resigned on personal grounds and then passed away within a year of that, so, like, I wouldn't like to assume, but if you asked me to put my money on it, it probably would be because of that he stepped down. I would expect he'd want to have some time away from the company with that happening, and I wouldn't fucking blame him if that were the case. But if that's whether that's true or not, I don't want to like comment on it because I don't know, and I'm speaking about
He's the
someone who's
one
past. That's
responsible
unfair.
for the crypto wallet.
Point being,
Could be useful to us.
I'm incredibly invested in this company and knowing where they're going and knowing what the future of the company looks like. G White. So like, whether people like or dislike some of the things I say sometimes about Starbreeze, whether the executives like or dislike me, and let's be fair, I would put money on the executives not liking me at all. They're like very, very unhappy with the way I've been. They're probably not too sad over me not being a partner anymore. I'll be honest with you. I've got no way of knowing because I've got no direct contact with them, but I would expect that they weren't happy with me, so when I probably chose to resign, they'd probably be like, maybe that's for the best. Because I didn't exactly make it subtle, my disdain towards the executives. But all that aside, everything that I say and everything that I do, the problem is I'm trying to make sure that I share my thoughts on how to save the company, how to make sure the company does well, and how to make sure the IP does well. And my opinions are not always the right ones. I'm not always saying the right thing, because I'm just a person. And, you know, one person will have different ideas as to how to make things better as other people. You know, you compare me to, say, Noli, and we have similar thoughts on a lot of things. Both of us think the PUBG deal is fucking stupid, but I think we both have slightly different ideas on how to improve things or how things might go, because we're different people and we have different experiences, different knowledge, and different thoughts. So I'm never going to protest or claim to say that I know the right way ahead, but what I'm always going to try and do is say the ways I think are best for the company and what the way to go forward. And part of that is because I've noticed that a lot of the things I suggest my community tend to agree with. And that's not because they're sheep who just agree with anything I say. It's because they have actual fucking brains and will just use those brains to form their own opinions. And they often line up with mine. And I do find that beneficial because it means that I'm not barking up the wrong tree a lot of the time. Do you know what I mean? So,
That's a mess.
like, my goal is always I'm trying to make sure that I'm saying what I think is best for the
That was an
franchise.
awesome night out.
Right?
We got the
I
crypto
think that's
wallet
lost
and
sometimes
nobody
on some
called the
people.
cops.
But that is all I'm trying to do. If you don't like my opinions, it's totally fair. I don't blame you whatsoever. But I'm just trying to think about the franchise. So the problem you've got with me is basically, to sum that whole point up, is that I am going to be a bit biased towards the developers at the very least because I want to make sure that they still have jobs at the end of the day. Which isn't really a biased thing anyway. I feel like anyone with half a brain should care about developers. And that's not insulting. If you don't care about developers and care about their well-beings, then I don't know what to fucking tell you. Grow some respect. But more than the average person, I feel like I have that investment because I know what that company's been through and how close things have been before, and I don't want to see the company go under as a result of stupid executive decisions, because it wouldn't be the first time that things nearly went to shit because of that, and it just feels like I'm watching history repeat itself. You see what I mean? So that's where my head's at. That's where my head's at. So
Lots of ways to do this.
I just
Multiple entry points.
the thing in my head is, with my content at the minute, and I think I mentioned this briefly in my video I put up last night. It was a 35-minute video. I don't remember every single thing I said in the edit, I'll be honest with you. Everything I've said in the video is how I feel anyway, but you know what I mean. I personally don't know how much benefit there even is at this point to me making the videos that I make. I think there's a very decent chance, especially now I'm no longer partner, that Starbreeze don't give a flying fuck what I say. Or at the very least, people with like, the decision-making ability. You know? I hope the developers are still like, if the developers are still watching my videos, I hope they understand what I'm trying to do. They may not, they might, I don't know.
We should be able to get clues on where to look.
Freaking hell, man. Come on, don't let me cock up in that room. But, like, that's my main goal, you know? I don't know, I'm waffling. I'm waffling a lot. I'm waffling a lot. Didn't know I had a problem with you, Archer. My mind is blown, so not on YouTube. Sorry. I'm sorry I had to find out this way. So, yeah, I'm just trying to do the best that I can. You know? I'm trying to do the best that I can. I just don't want to see the company go under, man. And unfortunately, with a lot of executives, it's not just limited to Starbreeze. With a lot of gaming companies these days, the higher-ups think they know what they're doing, and then get it very, very wrong, or the wrong people suffer. It's never the people at the top who have to suffer. It's always the people lower down the food chain. I remember hearing about the layoffs at Bungie, and that, like, one something that really annoyed me was there was an article that came out that said that there were a shit ton of Bungie people laid off, including the guy who composed most of the music for Destiny. I think it's Michael Salvatore, I think his name was. And they laid off all the staff members, or a bunch of staff members in that company, at the same time as the CEO was buying fucking multi-million-dollar cars to add to a collection he had growing. Like, so if that CEO is more bothered about, ooh, let me expand my car collection for millions of dollars rather than paying his staff, I mean, what's the average wage for a game developer? Even if it was $100,000 a year, you know what I mean? If he can make transactions of multi-million-dollar cars like that, you know? Marvel Rivals layoffs is the prime example. Yeah, well said, Nico. So, if you don't know what's going on with Marvel Rivals, it's not quite as dramatic as some people are making it out to be. It's still shit. But there's a leg of developers in America, I believe it is. One of the game directors and a bunch of devs who helped contribute towards... I think it's 6 developers, actually. I don't think it's a bunch. Saying a bunch is probably pushing it. But the game director and I think 5 or 6 other developers in America have been laid off who worked on Marvel Rivals, like, leading up to launch and post-launch. It's to do with, apparently, because NetEase as a company are trying to relocate everything into China. Because a lot of their dev teams are already over there anyway. One of the lead game directors. I can't remember. I don't quite know how to say his name, and the last thing I want to do is butcher it. But one of the lead game directors who's been in like some of the recent material is in China. I think a lot of the devs are in China. So they're like, I think, trying to localize everything into China. Sound familiar to any other rumors you're hearing recently? If you don't know what I'm talking about, remind me about France in a minute, folks. Just say France in a minute if I haven't said it. No, talk to you about that. But yeah, they're trying to centralize their staff. And as a result, people who've worked on Marvel Rivals, one of the biggest gaming launches in the last few years, have lost their jobs. There's definitely a sense in this industry at the minute that it doesn't matter where you work or who for. There's no real guarantee that tomorrow you'll still have a job. Which is depressing. I want to work in the gaming industry. I'd love to work in that because it's something I care deeply about. But, like, as someone who wants to get into that, I'm kind of like, fuck, you know? There's no job security in that, and it's extremely concerning, you know? I don't want to see Starbreeze have layoffs just like every other company, but it feels like that's where we're going. I don't know. As someone who has been laid off recently, worked at People Can Fly, around 15 to 20% of all devs got fired and the entire project suspended. This shit sucks. I'm so sorry to hear that, Vlad. That's fucking horrible. I hope you manage to find a new job imminently, fella. That is just not good at all. But, you know, you see what I mean? Like, it's crazy. I mean, the layoffs in, I think it was 2022 and 2023 were really bad. And I had hoped in 2024 they'd be better. But I think 2024, if I remember correctly, was worse than the previous 2 years combined. You know? The gaming industry ballooned as a result of COVID and everyone being at home playing video games. So companies went, shit, let's hire a bunch of new devs. Let's get things out faster. Let's update our games faster. Because people are playing them. And then, once things started to lift, lockdowns lifted, people went back to work, COVID began to fade away. Like, that ballooning is now having to be undone. And all those people who've been hired or people who've been there for longer are being laid off. You know? It's a shit situation. But, like, while I definitely understand the aspect of not everyone you've hired in every single company can keep their job when the gaming industry does shrink a little bit, I get that. You know, at least some jobs are going to be lost as shit as it is. The amount that have been lost and the way they've been done across the board, I think it's been wholly inappropriate. Like I said, it's always the people lower down that suffer, not the people higher up. You know? I could have sworn there was one company, and I can't remember which one it was, but I remember reading about one company where the CEO took a big pay cut as opposed to laying off staff. I remember hearing that and thinking, fucking hell, good on him. Someone actually willing to take some of the damage. But was it Nintendo? Right, there you go. So there you go. Maybe it was Nintendo.
Used to be an old tobacco
But
warehouse.
any other company,
Still smell like
do the
cigars?
CEOs take a pay cut?
Or has the
No.
stench of
Of course the CEOs don't take a pay cut, because that would involve them having to sacrifice something themselves rather than just put someone else on the chopping block. Baguette, oui. Oh, you reminded me of the French thing. Right. So,
Yeah,
the French
sorry.
situation is the other thing that I wanted to talk about today. And as I said in my video yesterday, this is all, you know, it's not officially confirmed by Starbreeze. So take it with a grain of salt. These are all ifs, okay? If you ask my opinion, I think they're very, very fucking likely ifs, but they are still ifs, so please do bear that in mind with this. However, a man has got stuck in the wall in an art gallery. That's the news. He's actually French. Oui. No, the news is that a manager has come into the room. Fucking hell, I keep getting disturbed. There's been a report from a Starbreeze employee, a current Starbreeze employee, that they shared with a news website called 80 Level. They reported that Starbreeze are attempting to lay off 23 staff members who work in France, basically shuttering the entire French division. And if the reports are correct, they are people who were... some of them were very important in getting Payday 2 out on Epic Games Services for Update 237, the one that famously nuked the servers, but they're the ones who worked on that to try and get it to at least be somewhat functional. They were important to Payday 3 on consoles, they're important to checking updates and removing as many bugs as they can. And I mean, let's be fair here, Payday 3 updates have launched enough bugs as it is. So you're telling me without the French devs it could have been even worse? You know what I mean? These are people who are very important to Payday 3 and to Starbreeze, but seemingly they're all being laid off. And it seems as though the way they're going about it doesn't seem like it's super friendly with what's going on with the French labour laws at the minute. Like, there's things going on, and if not for French labour laws, they would have already been laid off without any kind of fuss. Now, because the layoffs haven't actually fully gone ahead, and things are still going on labour law, we don't know these things officially yet, and that's why it's all very much an if situation, right? This is all very much an if. That's why I'm saying that. Even though I think it's almost entirely likely, this is why it's an if, because these things are still ongoing with the French union strikes, etc. There was a one-day strike, but there's still union stuff happening. So this is very much, as the news sites would say, this is very much a developing situation. So we can't know for sure. Bear that in mind. But there is a bit of an impression from the Starbreeze Q4 report that they're moving all their devs to a smaller office in Sweden, and also it seems like trying to centralize some of the staff in Sweden, at least collect some of the people there in this new studio. That was the impression I was getting from the CEO's message that I read in my video yesterday. So that does line up with this idea of removing the people in France, because then you haven't got these people who are working in a different country to refer to. You've then only got the people in Sweden to deal with. Everyone that you need to have conversations with, everyone you need to discuss things with, anyone you may have good or bad things with, are now in the same office, and you can bollock and or praise them very easily just by walking down a corridor. You ain't got that problem of having to liaise with someone in France and be like, hey, what's going on over in Paris? You know, how are you guys doing with our game? They don't have to worry about that because they'll have got rid of those staff. So that's what the situation could well be. Now, I don't know when this stuff wraps up with labour law. I don't know when we'll know more information. I imagine it won't stay quiet forever. If it really is happening, which, as I said, it seems likely, I imagine we will find out one way or another imminently. I don't know how soon. If anyone does know how soon it's expected to happen, please do share. I don't actually know, and I'd be very interested to know. Oh,
that looks strange.
My bad. I was wondering where my spectrophotometer had gone. Spectrometer, not spectrophotometer. That's a biology. Oh, it's in there. But yeah, so if anyone knows when some of that stuff might tidy up and they're aware of like what's going on with the French law, please do let me know, because I don't actually know that bit super well. Okay, let's bring the spectrophotometer now. Let's get the things hacked to the circles. So yeah, so it's a bit messy. So we've got, and the last thing on top of that, which was the main title of my video yesterday, was that Starbreeze are still losing money. Their Q4 report reported that they've lost about $3.5 million, about 3 billion, no, not billion, million, 3 million pounds, $3.5 million US dollars in the last quarter. They are claiming that they've still got a very stable profile financially, and that may well be the case because sometimes companies do operate in the negatives while they're in the lead up to a big game launch. But I certainly don't think Starbreeze as a company should be making losses at this point, because the costs of Baxter should really be vast outweighed by the profit they're making off Payday 3. But they ain't making profit off Payday 3. You know? It's like that one cutscene from Call of Duty Ghosts, but that's not gonna happen. There ain't gonna be any Payday 3 profit. Because if you don't actually know, the CEO did confirm in one bit of information he did share about the inner workings, more of which I wish he'd share, Payday 3 has not turned over actual profit since it came out. I believe they had made their development costs back, I think it was within 8 or 9 days of the game coming out. They'd made all their dev costs back, so you would imagine they'd start going into profit, but obviously there were refunds, and they've put a lot more money into development since in Operation Medic Bag, so overall, they have not made a profit. The game is costing them money, and it's not making it back. So, you know, they're trying to push to Baxter because they're thinking that'll be the game that saves them. When really, if Baxter fails, they may well be fucked. Like, that is just the general thing, right? That is just the general situation. That's where we're at. It may not turn out that way, but it certainly feels to me from like that insider report and the way things are being talked about, that's how developers are feeling right now. Staff roles are not reliable at all, like positions in the company, and that disconnect between the devs and the higher ups just seems to be getting wider and wider and wider. And it can only get worse if things don't get better. You know? It's just shit, man. It's shit. As always, I'll keep reporting the news whenever I hear about it. I'm going to do my best to, I'm going to keep doing it from official sources, or these news articles. And if it's a news article like this, I will obviously preface it by saying it's not official because it's not from Starbreeze. But, you know, I just, anything I find out that can be shared in that way, like, you know, anything that's like a public thing, I will be putting out there, you know?
Watch the guard.
Anything that's possible that I can find to share, I will do, is the point. What are people saying? When Payday 3 was coming out, I said all they had to do was essentially make Payday 2 with updated graphics and more heists. It would have been a massive hit. Instead, Mio Day 3 was born, and this is what happens when your product doesn't know what it wants to be, sadly. And I saw Nico reply saying, Mio wasn't the lead designer before the game launched, nor do I think any blame should be put on him for how the game was at launch. And I agree with that, yeah. Different developers had different ideas about how to do different things in the game, so you could argue that certain things should have gone differently, and maybe certain designers' ideas weren't right or wrong, but I don't really know who made what decision, not properly. But yeah, Mio was not the game director. He took the role of game director after launch because the current game director, Eric Wannabe, was on, I think, leave. I don't even know if he's still working for the company at this point because I haven't heard anything from him since Payday 3 came out. He was quite a central figure of the Payday 3 segment of the 10th anniversary stream for Payday. But I don't really think we've seen much of him since. Oh, I think he was briefly in a Summer Games Fest thing when Prime Matter was still a thing. Eric got sacked. Is that officially confirmed, Nico? Or is that like you've heard? Because if that's legit, I didn't fucking know that. The last I heard was that the former game director was on leave. Fuck. That might be a bit of fucking bombshell. Friggin' hell. For those on YouTube, Nico is a former Starbreeze developer. He's in my Twitch chat right now.
Make sure to
And he's just informed me that the original game director of Payday 3 was fired. He came back? Oh, shit. So he came back and got sacked. Is that officially confirmed, Nico? Like, has that been shared anywhere that I could use as a reference if it comes up? Because obviously, you know, like I said, I want to be able to report things that are fact. And if anything isn't fact, I want to be able to state that it may well not be. That's not official? Okay, so we have to take your word for it. But I mean, I don't know why you'd come in here and lie, but obviously, as I've said, you got to be tactful with these things because there's big business shit going on here with a publicly traded company, and I don't want to start spreading shit that may not be accurate, even if it seems like it very much like is. But fuck, I hope that's not true, man. Just when I think it couldn't get worse. I'm tired, man. I'm tired. There is a part of me that just thinks sometimes I should just pack it in and just stop reporting Payday stuff. There is, I will be honest, there is a part of me that figures that out, that feels that way. Mainly because it just depresses me to see a company that I care so much about be handled so fucking abhorrently. And to see a game that, like, Payday 3, I'm not saying something new when I say this. Payday 3 should have been the easiest sequel to make in history. And not even from the situation of what someone in the chat said earlier, which was, you know, make Payday 2 again with better graphics. It didn't have to necessarily be Payday 2 all over again. It certainly could have been a lot more like Payday 2, I agree with you on that, but, like, there are some things they could refine, like the stealth systems, things like that. But, like, along that ilk, it should have been so fucking easy. You had 10 years of content and updates, and a community of tens of thousands of people playing your game daily to refer to ask. If you're ever not sure about something or you're wondering what the most important thing was, you had a community you could ask. And I don't understand why companies are so scared to do that, you know? Why is there this disconnect between game developers and fans of franchises? You know? I mean, I compared to Life is Strange with regards to live-action adaptation, but I tell you one thing, whether you're a fan of Life is Strange or not, you might have heard that the last installment of that franchise, Double Exposure, utterly bombed with fans, and I think also commercially too. I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it had some really decent parts to it, but I definitely do agree with quite a few of the criticisms it got. So one of the main ones being that one of the lead characters from the original game, it was basically a direct sequel to the original game, but they basically made the final choice of the first game completely fucking irrelevant and removed one of the main characters that should have been in the game based on certain choices. And, like, while I understand some of the decision behind that and some of, like, the game development stance and, you know, making one character have their own story that's not attached to another character, I get that. The thing is, had they asked their fans and gone, what would you most like to see in a sequel involving this character, they'd have got some very conclusive answers that would have given them a much better thing to work off, and therefore a game that wouldn't have bombed nearly as close to the way that Double Exposure did. That's the problem you've got when you don't engage with your fans. And Payday 3 very much has the same problem. They chose not to talk to the fans and ask them what they thought was best, and they just ran ahead with a game that ended up not being very good
This is so
at launch.
embarrassing.
That's the fucking shame of it all.
When I went to
you know,
clean it up, I
this shit could have been prevented.
So now
Well,
I'm sitting here, wet pants, pushing the wrong goddamn
we ended
buttons
up where
on the
we were.
radio.
But yeah,
Does this shift ever end?
It just makes me sad because I think, man, it should have been so much easier than this. It should have gone so much better than this. And it breaks my heart that it didn't. It really did. Game might have performed better if they went the goofy route instead of realistic. I will always be in the camp that going a bit more realistic was not a bad choice. I think the problem is, like, there are other problems with this game that are far more important. I think they definitely could have had a bit more goofiness, definitely, and things like the sociopath overkill weapon definitely feel like we're going along that road. But, like, just the general, like, progression was a very big thing. Going online only, I mean, for goodness sake, if there was one thing you absolutely could and should have listened to the community on, it was online only. Everyone and their mother warned the company about how bad of an idea that was. But Starbreeze just went careering straight into it. It was like they saw a truck coming on the oncoming direction and just went, you know what, I'm going to walk into this. It won't hurt me. And then they fucking broke 200 of the bones in their body. I mean, friggin' hell. Do you even have 200 bones in your body? Is it 200 something or is it 100 and something? I actually forget. But you know what I mean. Ugh. I didn't want this to turn into a whining stream. I apologize, people. I'm not normally a lot more cheery than this. But I think the problem is it's 206. I thought it was 200 and something, but for a second I was like, if I've just said there's more bones in the body than there actually are. Hang on. I should remember from fucking Deadpool and Wolverine. Why have I forgotten that? There are 206 bones in the human body. 207 if I'm watching Gossip Girl. Like, fucking hell. How have I forgotten that? It's a fucking peak film, bro. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, my version would be, there are 206 bones in the human body. 207 when Starbreeze do things that make sense for the IP. Oh, fucking hell. The smallest one is in your ear. I did not know that. I did not know that. I actually did not know that. Interesting facts, Noah. But yeah. Oh yeah, that was the main thing, by the way. Online only was supposedly done. I think it was an interview with the former CEO, Tobias. I can't remember. I think he said the way he said his name was Hergrian, but I've seen Swedish people say that it's pronounced differently, so I don't know. But he said that part of it was down to preventing cheating, and another part was down to preventing piracy. But I'm pretty sure the game was cracked within, like, I don't know, a day of it coming out? Or was it even less than that? I don't fucking know. Point is, the game was pirated very, 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 very quickly. So if that was the intention, it didn't fucking work. That pronunciation was good. See, that was how he said it verbally when I interviewed him that one time, Hergrian. And I've had Swedish people come in since and be like, that's wrong. And I'm like, but surely the guy himself would know how to pronounce his own name, you know? Oh, well, look, Beecroft's in the Twitch chat. Hello, mate. Mr. Dangly Balls himself. If you don't get that reference, then I'm not going to explain it, 'cause it's funnier if I don't. Hope you're doing well, boss. But yeah, we're just currently chatting about the situation with Starbreeze and how things aren't quite in the best situation. What's your thoughts, actually, Beecroft? Have you been following a lot of the stuff with Payday 3 and Starbreeze decisions? I know you've been streaming a lot of Payday 2 recently. Like, how much have you been following what's been going on? What are your thoughts, if you have any? I'd love to know.
Watch out. Some exhibition
His
rooms
first
have
thing he
alarm
says is, I
sensors
love
in
some
the
dangly
floors.
balls.
Don't trip them trying to
My
push
kind of
the
guy.
switch to turn it off.
Oh, there we go. I saw the France thing and that's about it. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. 207 when they announced Extreme Gear in Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. Well said, Wild. Well fucking said. You could basically see it in my face, friggin' hell. Oh, I'm so excited for that game. The closed network test is tomorrow. I'm hoping I got into it because I'll hopefully be able to play it in the night. But I haven't heard back yet. I don't know at what point you find out if you've gotten into the network test. Fingers crossed. Oh my god. As the current solo dev on the hamster wheel, I'd say I'm doing alright. I never had any doubts in you, Luke. I know you're always doing the best stuff. You're Mr. Trailer. And you do fucking good stuff. Oh, and also, I already said to on Twitter, but give my love to Joachim as well, Luke. Because I assumed incorrectly in the video I put up yesterday that you made that little clip between the chains and the cloaker. The chains and the cloaker. Between chains and the cloaker that Payday shared on their Twitter. And Joachim replied on Twitter saying that it was him that did that. I already said it to him on Twitter, but please do give him a love. He's a good dude. I met him the last time. Joachim's one of the guys who works on like mocap, things like that in Starbreeze, and he like I got to speak a bit to him when I was at Sweden last year. Lovely dude. Really, really nice dude. I'm not talented at all. Joachim's a wizard. Oh yeah, you've got no talent. I'm just gaslighting you, Luke. I don't know why they hired you. I think you're shit. No. God. Oh. Anyway. Oh, John. I shouldn't have quoted Deadpool and Wolverine because Johnny on YouTube's just quoted Deadpool and Wolverine and applied it to Payday 3. I know what you're thinking. How are we going to do this without dishonoring Payday 2's memory? Well, I'll tell you how. We're not. Damn. Fuck. What do I say to that, man? What do I say to that? I don't know what I say to that. Oh, fucking hell. Notice how I was holding right stick for a bit too long there. Oh, and Safi's in here as well. Bloody hell, I'm the focal point for all the partners and devs today. Friggin' hell. And former devs. I got Beecroft in here, Safi, Little Guy, G, Nico. Where's Matt Yule? Tell him to come into the stream. I'll get him to answer some questions. Fucking hell. I tell you what, if I could interview Max Yule, I would fucking lap that opportunity up. I haven't asked because I know that he wouldn't do it. That's not me just... Oh, I forgot to get a zipline bag. Oh, Troy, you fucking donkey. Oh, no. I've just looted nearly all this fucking art gallery and I didn't have a friggin... Oh.
Stop!
I didn't have a friggin... Oh, you fucking bellend. Why did you forget that, you idiot? Oh, that was stupid. Well, that just made this heist 50 times harder, but we move. I'll probably fail, but, you know. Listen, chat, it's not the destination, it's the journey that matters, and I hope you've enjoyed me chatting about my thoughts on the Starbreeze stuff. Not that I haven't shared them over and over again, but I like getting people's takes on things. I feel like I've waffled a lot, so I'm very much interested in hearing other people's takes on the situations right now. Like, how do you feel about the way Starbreeze is going and Payday 3 and all that? Do share your thoughts in the live chats on both platforms. Bloody hell, I'm not running nearly as quickly as I thought I might. I love waffling streams. Well, that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. If only you could ask Matt Yule if he fixed it now. Oh yeah, because that was a quote he had in his in one of his last presentations. He was like, "We've fixed that now." What have you fixed, fella? What did you fix? I mean, poor Almir and Andreas, they were celebrating Payday 3 getting mostly positive on Steam, and within what, 2 weeks, it wasn't anymore. I mean, fucking hell, man. But yeah, if I could interview Matt Yule, if Starbreeze reached out to me tomorrow and went, Matt Yule wants an interview, I'd go, yes, absolutely. And I would ask him any fucking question I could about the state of the company and him to explain himself. And I genuinely tell you now, I don't think he could say a single thing that will make me feel better about how he's doing stuff. I just don't. Because like I said, I understand some of his financial logic. Like, you know, I talked a little bit about earlier the fact that Payday 3 is not making them any kind of profit. They're just sinking money in and getting nothing back. From a financial standpoint, as I've said, I understand the business decision to go, we are sinking money into this game and not getting any back. What's the point? I get it. But the problem is, you're a company that, I mean, like, objectively, barely should even exist. Only because of Mikhail and the company of work in 2020, or 2020, 18, 19, 20, pulling it back and putting all hopes in Payday 3, is this company still around? Starbreeze is known as the Payday company. You ask them to, you talk about Starbreeze in the context of any other game, you go, oh, they made that World War II game that was like Payday, but was not very good. I know people like it now, but, you know, like, to be fair here, it's not exactly mega popular, right? Let's just be objective, just for this. Excuse me for that. Or, oh, they're the game that made that, the company that made that terrible Walking Dead game, you know? Anything that they've done recently that isn't Payday has not exactly got a sticker of quality next to it. So, you know, you go, oh, this is the game from Starbreeze, the ones who fucking screwed up the Payday 3 launch, who haven't done a successful game since Payday 2. There's not going to be a lot of faith in that, you know? Word of mouth is important with video games, you know? If you talk to someone about video games and, like, a game you're interested in buying, how often do you go, oh, it's the studio that made this, you know? GTA 6 is gonna do fucking gangbusters on its first day. Why? Because Rockstar make good games, and people know that when you buy a Rockstar game, you're buying something that has quality tied to it. You know? That's an important thing. And if you have a company here that doesn't have that same word of mouth, then you go, oh, have you seen that new game from the Payday people? You go, oh, well, the people who fucked up Payday 3? I'm good. I couldn't get into Payday 3 for a week after launch. It'll probably be the same with this. Also, why are they doing Dungeons & Dragons? I don't care about Dungeons & Dragons. These are the kind of things that you have to face. Do you know what I mean? These are the issues they're going to have to encounter. And I honestly don't believe in my heart of hearts that they're fully prepared for that. If they are, and I'm wrong, as I've said already, I'll hold my hands up. Fair enough. But in my heart of hearts, I don't believe they're prepared for that to go that way. And I think it will. I really do. Rockstar makes amazing single-player games, their multiplayer games are kind of, well, they are. Well, I would even say, like, GTA Online, I think the only problem with GTA Online is it's outstayed its welcome. I've said this before. As an online multiplayer game, GTA Online is one of a kind. I fucking loved playing that game for the last decade. The simple problem is, I just got a bit bored with, like, the expansion and stuff. It got to a point where I'm like, okay, we're putting candles on a birthday cake that's already got, like, 120 candles on it. You just can't fit them in the cake anymore. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of a point where you go, there's only so much you can add, let's have the next one. right? The problem isn't GTA Online is shit. The problem is I want the next GTA Online, and they haven't done it as quickly as some people would have liked. You know what I mean?
What's that?
You could definitely make arguments that, like, oh, you know, when they did the Oppressor Mark II, or they did the Orbital Cannon, you know, they ruined GTA. And those opinions are valid, fair enough, I get that. But I think as a game, GTA Online is one of the best out there for multiplayer experiences. If you get into GTA Online now, you'd have a fucking blast. It's just people who have been playing it for, like me, since like 2014, who kind of go, do you know what? I played a lot of this now. Let's play something else. You know? So I wouldn't even give Rockstar shit for... The only thing I would give Rockstar shit for in the way of multiplayer is for leaving Red Dead Online in the state they did. I have always and will always be against the way they handled Red Dead Online. It fucking breaks my heart that they just basically let that game die because they were just pushing on to GTA 6 and putting the time as GTA Online. They weren't basically committed to make Red Dead Online the success it could have been. And that upset me because Red Dead Online, I felt, had the potential to be better than GTA Online in some ways. I mean, just from the core mechanics of Red Dead 2, melee combat was much more fun. I found gun combat much more engaging. I think getting around the map was perhaps a bit more of a hassle, because slapping A constantly while you're riding a horse is slightly less fun than just driving a car around, but it just felt like it could have been a lot better. But they didn't even give it 60 FPS on consoles, on current-gen consoles. It just got left in the dust. There were a couple of big updates for Red Dead Online, and then it kind of became clear after a couple of years that they just were not invested enough in making that game what it could be, or should be. And it just sucks, you know? It just kind of sucks, but what can you do? And I've been spotted! Let's go, gamers! Woo! I knew we were going to go loud anyway. We were getting quite close. At least I don't have to worry about the lasers in this other room now. Whatever, we've got nearly all the fucking stuff done. I can put the bags on the rest of the AI pretty much and be good.
Some of the exhibition rooms. You're gonna have to do some acrobatics to reach the switch and turn it off. Just don't touch the ground.
Shit, can't stay with the heat coming. Taking off.
Don't kill that guard. Don't kill that guard, guys. Let me get him on the floor.
Put
Good.
the gun down slowly. The fact GTA Online and GTA 5 is 13 years old, literally wild. It's insane. It's insane to think about how old that game is now. I just started replaying GTA 5 Story because I haven't played it in years. Still holds up. I really like GTA 5 Story. Right, that should be enough time to get all the bags that I need looted. Just open the dev console, enable God mode and unlimited bags. Hey, listen, Luke, you wanna hook me up? You wanna hook me up, mate? Feel free. I won't tell anyone. Everyone in the stream right now, they won't tell anyone, right? You guys won't say anything. Alright, that's the last one. That's it. No, I mean, you can't say anything anymore, Nico. Come on. You've moved on to greener pastures. You're over at EA now, buddy. You're over at DICE. How's things over there, by the way? You doing good? Hope you're doing well, fella. Oh, fuck my back. I just cracked my dang back. Fucking hell. Where are the AI? Oh, come on, fellas. Get up here. What the fuck are we doing here? Definitely dicing. As long as things aren't dicey, it's fine. We don't want any more diciness. Yeah, he is. Says it on his Discord profile, otherwise I wouldn't have shared that. Yeah, he's a cinematic artist over there. Doing God's work. Is that everything? We good? Oh, shit. I'm missing something. Well, fuck. What am I missing, bruh?
But there's plenty of valuable stuff left to steal if you want to try for more. Your call.
Oh, there's a bag down there. Dipshit. Battlefront 3? I doubt it. Nico, if you have any pull and you can make them do that, please do. I want Star Wars Battlefront 3 so badly you would not believe. There you go. Ugh. I feel like I've been in therapy, just getting all my thoughts in my chest. I feel like I've said a lot of this stuff before, but I think it's good to know that I can share these complaints, these thoughts, basically. Crowface the Flow, thank you very much. That I can share these thoughts and I don't feel crazy because everyone just seems to agree with what I'm saying in here, you know? Troy's just trauma dumping on us. I'm not Eggman in Sonic 3. Come on, man. Where'd you go, Hedgehog? I wasn't finished trauma dumping. Not going off game bugs that will be fixed. The main complaint is class system. Also, if the game does well, you know they dedicated the game for like 10 years. Yeah, if a game does well, they dedicate more time to it. At least you'd hope they would. That's what makes me wonder. Was Red Dead Online just not that popular? And is that why Rockstar pulled out? Or did they just realise that nothing was ever going to compare to GTA Online? I don't know. said I was only going to do about a 90-minute stream, so we've got time for one more solo stealth. If I can do it efficiently, which, knowing me, unlikely. Let's try and do a diamond district. Keep it on very hard. I don't know why I'm doing it on very hard, but I'm doing it on very hard. Does anyone really care at this point? I don't think so. Oh, inside man. Leave their vault unlocked. Ooh. I haven't used any of the assets, I don't think, for diamond district. That's cool. They stopped Red Dead because the market was bigger in GTA, so that's where the resources went. Yeah, I figured, Bart. Yeah, I figured. Just makes me sad. They made a subscription to GTA Online. Yeah, they did, Hunyan. And I don't, like... Ugh. I don't know any people who are signed up to it. If anyone is, fair enough. But I look at it and I think $500,000 in GTA a month for money? You'd have to be giving me a couple fucking million a month to make that even closer justified, even with the extra benefits. I think it's very strange. My wonder is if they're going to make GTA Plus... I mean, my bet is they absolutely wouldn't do this, but... Oh shit, I didn't turn the alarm off. Not bad. My bet would my question would be, would they make GTA 6 playable if you were a GTA Plus subscriber? You know, like day one Game Pass? My theory is absolutely not. I think Rockstar know people are going to pay for that game regardless, and what they probably more likely do is have some GTA Plus benefits on launch. You know, sign up to GTA Plus, and when you get GTA 6, you'll get these cool outfits for Jason and Lucia, or you'll get a rank 10 boost in GTA Online 2, or whatever it might be. Do you know what I mean? That's what I reckon they'll do. I think whatever happens, people will be expected to pay full price for that game. And I don't think you get many people complaining about it, as long as it's not $100,000. $100,000. What the fuck? I'm playing a Payday game and it's fucking my brain. As long as it's not $100 for the game. Because that is like a rumor at the minute. And... Huh? This is what I said already, people, about me being too focused on talking to the chat and not on the game. As if I went into the back room, didn't turn the alarm off, and then was shocked that the same thing happened again. Fucking knobhead I am. Man. Why did I sound like Yoda? Knobhead I am. I can't do a Yoda impression. Why am I even trying? Oh, the Switch isn't even in here this time. Must be over here. Bro got back shots in the back room. Listen, Nico, some things just don't need saying, buddy, okay? And that was one of them. Did I see a bag in here? Oh, no, it's the... Oh, wait, I did see a bag in here. What the fuck? Crazy shit.
My apologies.
Zombie Killer on YouTube says, I think Starbreeze should make Payday a top priority instead of making other games, because if you're only using the game just for profit and just focusing on making other games, then this is what? Is there a second half of the message coming? Should I wait for a second?
Roughly 90% of all diamonds in the US go through New York? That's a pretty big number.
I wonder if that actually is true.
To be made.
Fucking shit myself then. I saw something pop up in the corner of my screen and it was just GeForce being like, a driver update's ready. Like, thanks. I don't fucking need that right now. Let's see if we can find the multi-tag scanner. I wonder if it's in with this ring. Let's go.
Take it easy. Rude.
But yeah, I think I've said this already. I don't blame Starbreeze wanting to be a multi-game studio. I mean, any studio would want to expand and grow. The problem is how you do it and how effectively you do it. And it feels like they're just chasing the next big thing with the Dungeons & Dragons game. And I do wonder if part of that is because of the Baldur's Gate 3 effect. They go, Baldur's Gate 3 was really popular. We can do a Baldur's Gate 3, but in Payday fashion, where it's a 4-player co-op game. But those game genres are not even close to the same, and they have completely different audiences. I have friends who play Baldur's Gate 3 who wouldn't give a flying fuck about a Payday like for D&D. There's definitely an overlap. Someone like me would be interested in giving it a shot, and I've said that already. I've definitely tried the game when it comes out. But by that same token, is there enough interest there? I don't know. I don't know. Speaking of Payday, Starbreeze going back to training house for Payday 2 to keep lights on, says Sragus. We were talking about this earlier. I think, if anything, they go back to Payday 3. I think what might happen is... if you want me to give you my honest prediction, this is going to sound quite depressing. But my honest prediction is, I think if Starbreeze carries on the way they're going, I would not be surprised if Payday 3 is on live support by the end of the year. Like, just like a couple of people maybe fixing bugs and adding the odd, like, gun here and there. I genuinely do fear that's where we're going. I might be wrong, but that is my gut instinct. And I think partially that's why I'm so worried, because I don't want the game to go there. It just feels like the writing's on the wall. Do you know what I mean? So, I don't know. Payday 4 when? I swear, if they even thought about doing a fucking Payday 4 after doing what they've done with Payday 3, I'd be appalled. I would genuinely be appalled. If you get Payday 3 to a decent state, and actually fix all the problems and actually get a decent content cadence going and make sure people are interested in the sequel and in that franchise again, then you want to do another one after that? Maybe. If you can prove that you've learned from mistakes. But if you were to move on with Payday 3, do Dungeons and Dragons, and then go, do you know what, let's make Payday 4, I'd be disgusted. I honestly would be disgusted. I think it'd be an absolute joke.
That's one bag.
Basically, you're saying back shots in the back of the Payday minivan. What are you saying, Karuma? That is wild, brother. Let's get the alarm off in here. Whoop. Oop. Whoop.
Good. The alarm for the display cases has been disabled.
I haven't got Cerberus loop, have I? No, I've got lead guard. That's fine. Okay. That's an eye scanner, but we don't need to worry about that. I'll just get enough loot to fuck off. I'm making a Payday 3 live-action TV show. I personally don't think so anymore. It was announced a few years ago, but with the state of the IP and everything else going on, and the lack of funds Starbreeze even have to make a profit in a quarter, let alone do anything else, I think that series is dead in the water. But the thing is, if it is, I don't think it would benefit them as a company to share that. I think it would be more beneficial for them as a company to keep that in development hell and not have it go anywhere than to actively say, we aren't doing a live-action series anymore. Do you know what I mean? I think my attitude with that now is assume that it's not happening. If something comes out and we find out, oh yeah, actually is still hanging on, that's great. That's fantastic. And we'll all be very happy. I'll be very happy to hear that. Genuinely. But I am internally more prepared to be like, for them to just go, do you know what? It's not happening. We tried. It's not gone anywhere. The thing with a video game adaptation is you would hope that it has a good basis of actual video games to pull people in when the adaptation does well. You know, the Last of Us games are incredibly popular, and whether you like Part 2 or not, those are two extraordinarily well-selling and very popular games. So you can easily get people from watching the show to playing the game. The Sonic movies even, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think people who watch Sonic movies probably already play Sonic. I don't think Sonic needs as much of that transfer between like film audience and game audience. Oh, you motherfucker! What do I do here?
Help me up.
Right, yeah, of course. To get me out, they've got to. Yeah, okay. Damn.
What did I do?
Well,
Guns blazing.
loud she goes.
Classic smash and grab.
Hasn't gone so well this stream, has it, gameplay-wise? Whatever. As long as you guys have enjoyed it. Would have loved to have seen Payday in secret level. I would too. But that's what I was saying. I replied to a Payday tweet about it yesterday, and it was in my video. Or 2 days ago, sorry. Because Payday shared that little clip that Joachim had done in Starbreeze of a chains kicking like a cloaker's ass. It was a really cool clip, but they were like adding secret level being like, hey guys, when can we have our episode in your show? And that was what made me reply. I was like, are you not doing your own fucking show still? Like, is that not still happening? Like, I get them wanting to do an animated thing. Like, sure, fine. But to me, the wording of it struck me as, can we get some kind of adaptation for our game? Like, as if they kind of had realized or forgotten that people didn't know it wasn't happening. Like, it wasn't happening, and they hadn't told people, and they forgot that. That was the impression it gave me. Do you know what I mean? That's why I said what I said. I was like, you know, you not having a fucking adaptation? Is that just not happening anymore? Is that dead? Part 2 is just released. Part 2 of what?
Okay. Platform controls overridden. Lowering them to street level.
I like how they did the Sonic movies. All three are good. Yeah, the Sonic movies are fucking brilliant. You'll never hear a bad word from me about them. Well, more Shadow. Give me more Shadow.
They'll be there in about 30 seconds.
Any more actual loot bags in here? Let's just focus on the bags.
Be careful. They're deploying cloakers.
Oh. Anyone else having a hard time trying to find a game to play? What, a game in Payday or like a game generally?
The window cleaning
I started
platforms
playing
are good to go.
Cyberpunk recently and I haven't gone back to it. I need to because I was actually enjoying it, which made a change because I tried it a few times previously. It just wasn't vibing with it. So I'm glad I'm enjoying it now. I forgot. What did you forget, Vida? Nice to see you though. Rumor has it another Cyberpunk anime series will be done by Netflix next year. That could be cool. I haven't watched the original one. I've heard very good things about Edge Runners, but I haven't seen it. One more bag, and we are good to go. Just playing Payday 3 sometimes I do think a lot about how some things are just so much better than Payday 2. The gunplay is one of them. I mean, I don't dislike Payday 2's gunplay, like how arcadey it feels. It kind of has that charm to it that I don't think will ever go away. But I do like the kind of more responsive gunplay that Payday 3 has. I like how much better the stealth is. Like, you know, I feel like I wouldn't care as much about making sure, like, that I say what I think is right to make this game good if it didn't already have the promise that it does. And also have a dev team that clearly give a shit about the game. Just that unfortunately they don't seem to be given the resources and the time and the budget to do what they want. Like if the devs make a mistake with something or like if something goes wrong, you know it's with good intentions. Whereas the mistakes of the executives, I just don't think the intentions are good. Or at least they're not caring for the community. You know what I mean? Payday 2 gameplay is pretty funky at times. But I mean, it is based on a game that's like a couple of decades old at this point nearly or something. And the game itself is like over a decade old. You're going to have a bit of funkiness to it, a bit of jank here and there. That's just natural. You know what I mean? As long as it ages fairly well, which I think Payday 2 has, then, you know, like, the biggest problem I had with Payday 2, as I said towards the end, was just that I'd played it too much. I played it a lot and got to the point where I was like, right, I'm only playing this for content now. I'm only playing this to stream it or to make videos on it. I wasn't playing it for casual fun. And that wasn't because the game was shit or I thought it had gone off the rails. It was because I've played a lot of this. There's only so much of this game I can play before I go, do you know what? I think I've had my fill. And that's all it was. And that's why I'm saying more in recent times I'm considering going back and streaming Payday 2 again, because it's been ages and I'm like, you know, maybe I could go back. And it would still be for content, granted, but I do have a bit more of a spark to return to it and be like, let's see. Let's remember what was so good about this, you know? Are these two clowns literally going to get up here at any point? I mean, fucking hell. Stealth in Payday 2 is torture. I don't think it's torture. I definitely think the stealth in Payday 2 will be far less fun, knowing now what stealth in Payday 3 is like. I think that will have aged worse now because of Payday 3 stealth's existence. That I definitely agree on. I don't think it's torture, though. Shit. Probably gonna die again. That's what happens when you play very hard with a stealth build. Can I go? A while? Oh, bruh. Can I get in one of these vaults? Can I still type the codes? Okay, I can. I need a code with 4, 5, 6, and 8. 5864. Get me up. 5864. 5864. So yeah, in terms of like my content plans going forward now for Payday 3, I'm still going to talk about any news that comes out, Starbreeze or Payday 3 related. Oh god, sorry. My next plan is to do a video talking about offline mode, and just to set expectations based on how I think, at the very least, that I don't think it's coming. I honestly don't at this point, and I'll talk about why I think that's the case. And, you know, I mean, I'd rather say it's not coming and then be surprised and have it come, and be surprised and be like, yeah, this is great, rather than me say, I think it's still coming, guys, and then it never come. You know what I mean? Plus, like I said, with everything going on and everything we talked about in this stream, I just don't see offline mode happening, I'll be honest. I just don't see it. I think it's going to take far too many resources, and if what's true about the French team being laid off is true and them being so detrimental to some of Payday 3's big updates, how the hell are they going to get an offline mode out the door? You know? Seeing people on YouTube say that Crime Boss has a better stealth system than Payday 3. I agree in some ways, and in some ways I don't. I think Crime Boss stealth is easier. So if you like it because it's easier to play, that's totally fair. I am someone who enjoys easier games, just so I can have a bit of casual fun. I think there's a lot to praise with Payday 3's stealth system, and there's actually quite a bit to praise with Crime Bosses too. The thing with Crime Boss is you can take care of every guard in the map by tying them up and moving them around. You can't do that in Payday 3, and I do find that very enjoyable in Crime Boss. But as long as you're at least semi-decent at dealing with guards, that does make the game quite easy to work around in a lot of the heists. So, it's a double-edged sword, right? But Payday 3 has, like, I quite like the public area, private area, secure area. I like the layouts of that kind of thing. So, and then there's obviously overlaps, the security rooms, things like that. But the same. I don't know. I will say I think I prefer security rooms in Crime Boss purely because it's not a sacrifice to deal with them. It feels like a bit more of a coordinated heist where you go, let's take out the cams and then we can deal with the rest of the guards. Whereas in Payday 3 and Payday 2, you kind of have to go, do I deal with the security? I've only got so many pages I can deal with. You know, you have to be strategic about it. And that works for those games, but in terms of the fun heist planning aspect, Crime Boss is probably better in that regard. So, I don't know. Why do you think it will take quite a bit of resources to make an offline mode? Because I imagine it'd be light work. Well, obviously I'm not a game dev, so I might be wrong, and maybe it is easier. But A, if it was so easy, I'd hope they'd have done it by now. And B, they've built a game completely around server infrastructure. And I don't imagine it's an easy thing to undo. I imagine, like, rebuilding the game to function locally on computers and be able to just log in without being connected to a server that the game is so tied to could be a challenge. Do you know what I mean? I just... Like, currently, if you aren't connected to the internet, you can't make progress in the game. It's all about the solo mode. You have to still be online to play solo mode. They've got to get around all of that. All the stuff, and as Gilby said on Twitch, all the stuff with Nebula too. They've got to get around all of that in order to make it work. And I think that's probably going to be an issue, you know? I don't know. They don't play Crime Boss. Is it any good? I think it's really good fun. It's worth playing. If you haven't seen, I do stream it occasionally over on Twitch, so please feel free, YouTube people, to watch me on Twitch. Twitch.tv/RedArcherLive. But whether you're on YouTube or Twitch, there is a VOD channel on YouTube called Red Archer Live VODs. I can do a command in Twitch chat. No, I'll probably do it now. I've said that too. But let me just pop the link in the YouTube chat as well, in case you don't know about it. But I have a whole playlist of Crime Boss streams in there, so you can always go and watch me playing that. But what I will say is with Crime Boss, it's getting crossplay next month. It currently doesn't have it, and my biggest problem with Crime Boss right now, especially multiplayer, is there aren't enough lobbies. Most times there's like 2 or 3 lobbies active, and you can't get into many multiplayer games. But I'm hoping that when crossplay comes out, not only will it reinvigorate interest in the game, but there'll be more servers on different platforms you can get into. So as long as we don't have Payday 3 all over again, then we'll get a crossplay system that works. So sometime in March that will come out, and I'm excited for that. And I will be making a video on it and streaming it when that happens. So, although I'm saying it right now, and if it fucking happens, it's going to be so funny. I'm taking a week off in March. And I swear, if Crime Boss fucking release crossplay in my week off, I'm going to cry. I'm not even going to say the dates yet. I'm not even going to say the dates, because I'm planning to take a week off in the middle of March. I'm not going to say the exact dates. Probably gives a bit away there. And I swear, if they release it then, I'm going to go fucking apeshit. They can't prevent it. They're not going to work their schedule around me, but man, I want to be able to stream it the day it comes out. So, fingers crossed, man. Either way, I said it would only be about an hour and a half stream, and sadly I do have to hold to that. I'm getting an early night. I'm very busy tomorrow, so I'm going to make a dip. I just want to say, like, the problem that we have right now with Payday 3 streams is that a lot of what I talk about is negative, and I am sorry about that, because a lot of you know I'm an incredibly positive person. I love a lot of stuff I talk about, and you got to be aware, if you aren't already, that I do talk about Payday 3 in this way because I love it. It's just that what I have to say isn't quite so positive because we aren't in a great place with the game. You know, I will praise whatever's good whenever I can, much like Update 13 with Jacket, because it was a really good update. But sadly, the good stuff is few and far between at the minute. There's far too much bad stuff and or unknown stuff that vastly outweighs the good. And that's the problem, right? It's not negativity when it's true factual statements about the gaming company. That's fair, Lemons, but the thing is, I did have a point for a few months last year in 2024, and we weren't getting many updates where I got very, very negative. And looking back, I think it was more negative than I needed to be. You know, there wasn't like impending doom from Starbreeze higher-ups. I was just getting really pissy because I just wasn't happy with Payday 3. Which I eventually stopped, I realised, and stopped and all that, yeah. But I'm conscious of that now when I make these complaints and make these statements, because I want it to be clear that I'm trying to give constructive feedback. My whole thing is, if you're gonna criticize something in a game or criticize something in media, try and be as constructive as you can. Don't just say this is shit. Say this is shit because. Why is it bad? How can it be better? That kind of thing. And that's what I'm always trying to do. And as I've said already, whether it's obvious or not to some people, I'm just trying to look out for the devs. I care a lot about the people who work on this franchise. They love Payday a lot, and I don't want to see any of them get laid off. Or, as things are seeming at the minute, any more of them getting laid off than currently may be. may or may not be. Who fucking knows? I really do hope we get some confirmation of the French news eventually, because I don't want to keep saying if it's true or if it's not. I want to find out it's not happening at all. I'd love that. I'd love for it to come out and be like, no French people are getting laid off. It's all fine. But whatever is happening in whatever direction, I hope it just fucking comes out so we can stop dealing in if, buts, and maybes, as the meme goes. I just want to know. I just want to roll with it. Once I see something official come out from a news article that actually has a statement, or Starbreeze themselves, I'll be all over it. But who knows? Who knows? Or, I mean, if it comes out, if people start posting on, like staff members start posting on places like LinkedIn saying they've been laid off, I mean, at that point, that is public knowledge and it's confirmed. So, who knows? Who knows? I'll be keeping an eye out anyway. I'll let you all know. Right. So that's everything I've got to say today. I hope that's caught everyone up and everything. I hope that all makes sense to everyone, and I hope everyone's okay and they're not too angry at me for being disappointed in the way things are at the moment. I appreciate you all being here, both on YouTube and Twitch. If you have enjoyed the stream, please consider subscribing on YouTube and following on Twitch. And if you want to support me even more on YouTube, I did recently relaunch the channel membership program. On the channel membership program, if you sign up for as little as £2 a month over on YouTube, you'll get early access to any non-Payday videos I make, and I'm hoping maybe the odd Payday video too. Don't hold me to that, because I don't want to say something and then go back on it, like Starbreeze currently have with offline mode. But certainly the non-Payday stuff, I want to try and release that early as much as possible. I did that last week with the State of Play video. I put it out about 12 hours early for members. Would have been sooner, but it was more of a hot news thing. So if you want to support me just a little bit over on YouTube, that would be greatly appreciated. Meet them all on Twitch. You can become a sub if you want. And remember, if you have Twitch Prime, you get a free sub every month. So make sure you use it on a streamer, even if it's not me. And as always, there's a donation link at the top of the YouTube description, and there's a donation button underneath the stream. Donations are always the best way to support me if you do want to support the content, if you enjoy it. But if none of those suit you and you just enjoy watching the streams, that's fine. I greatly appreciate it. Just being here, liking, commenting, and being in the chat is more than enough for me, and I greatly appreciate you all. But do follow on Twitch and subscribe on YouTube. Those are free. You got no excuse there. But yeah, so I'm going to wrap it up here. On YouTube, I'll just wrap up the stream and cut it off here. Twitch, stick around for a minute because we'll find someone to raid. So for the YouTube folks, thank you all for hanging out. Greatly appreciate you all. Do another Payday 3 stream in a couple of weeks' time. I'm trying to do 3 streams a week. I think, unfortunately, next week's going to be 2 again. Sorry. So probably won't do Payday 3 next week. So probably in 2 weeks we'll do another Payday 3 stream. But obviously, any news that comes out, I'll post videos about it and keep an eye out for the non-Payday content. So yeah, much love, and I'll see the YouTube people soon. Bye-bye. And that should be YouTube cut off. So Twitch people, let's get raiding someone who is streaming that we could pass on some love to. Let's have a little peek. Liz is streaming again. She's playing Payday 3. We can pass the love on to her. At least you won't have someone bitching about Payday 3 as much as I've been. So I think Liz is probably going to be a little bit more positive about it and just encouraging fun, which she should be. And I'm trying to encourage fun, but just, you know, saying things that need to be said about the game. But yeah, Liz is a dear friend, former partner manager, and someone that I like a lot. So I'll go and pass on the love to her. And you can go and hang out and have some good vibes with her. So thank you all for being here. I greatly appreciate it. And I will see you all very, very soon. Next stream will be on Monday next week. I'm not working as late as I normally am, so that should be doable. So yeah, thank you all for hanging out. And I will see you all in a bit. Much love. Bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye-bye.